So, Kendra, I was reading over your LinkedIn. You used to work for a catering company, a waitress, a former professional tennis player. Now you work as a sales development representative. So many folks are going to benefit from hearing your story here today. So why don't you give us a background? Where were you at maybe 6, 8 months ago? What were you doing? Where were you at in life?
Yeah, 6 to 8 months ago, I was playing professional tennis. I think I was actually playing a tournament in Africa at the time. And towards the end of last year, suffered an injury. Decided that it's probably time to make a career switch. So, that's kind of what got me into tech sales, but I didn't have any previous experience in the industry like whatsoever. So it was a completely different career shift for me.
I'm sure it took a lot of hard work, dedication, and just focus playing tournaments internationally, different places, whatever it may be. And it takes a lot of dedication. And I think there's a lot of parallels between pursuing athletics and success in corporate America. I like to think of myself as a corporate athlete. I'm going to bed early. I'm trying to eat clean like a professional
Yeah.
tennis player would. So how did you learn about tech sales? Because you're worried about tennis. You probably have a lot of free time with your injury and recovery. How did you learn about tech sales?
Honestly, I came across, and I know a lot of folks have discovered tech sales through this guy, Cyrus Harbin on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just saw his post like, oh, tech sales, and you don't need experience, and you can just make this amount of money in your first year. At the time, though, I was still like tennis was still my main focus. But once the injury happened, I kind of started just looking more into it. And then he talked about course careers. I'm like, what is course careers? What is course careers? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
just did a little research, my own research on it, and I was like, this seems like an interesting career. I like how like most of the you don't really need much experience coming into it because that's what I was worried about at first. And yeah, I was just like, let's do it, let's go for it.
Yeah, no, you strike me as a very all-in type person. So if you commit to it, you're just going to give it your full self. And when you figured out, well, hey, maybe I can make equal, if not better, maybe a little less money in tech sales. I'd be curious to hear what it looks like amateur coming up the ranks in tennis, or not amateur, but doing it for real. I'm curious how the money compares. But so you learned that, hey, I could get in tech sales with my drive, with my ability to communicate. I don't need a background, maybe no degree, experience, internships, connections, whatever. You found course careers. That, of course, helped. And I want to talk about that experience. But why don't we fast forward to now? What are you doing now? Because I think you've accomplished what so many folks who are watching this right now want to accomplish. You have landed a full-time job doing tech sales. So what are you doing now? Where are you at? And how are you feeling about everything? Because I know the position's still relatively new.
Yeah, it is. I started in my role about 3 weeks ago. So right now I am working as a sales development rep for Virtue. Virtue is pretty much a cybersecurity company. Yeah, I started about 3 weeks ago, and full-time job. But I'm loving it so far. I'm really loving it. I can't lie.
You feel like you're drinking from a fire hose right now with information?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah, yeah.
definitely felt that. I feel like now I'm starting to get a little bit more settled in. Now that I'm like 3 weeks in, but like the first 2 weeks, it was a lot to take in. So, but luckily I was surrounded. I'm surrounded by a good team. So
You start hitting the phones yet?
I did actually. I got
Oh, let's
today
go.
actually.
Today.
Yes.
Today. How'd that go?
It was great. Actually, it was through email, which was, I mean, hey, a win is a win. But I started the cold calling yesterday, so still trying to find my way around that a little bit. Definitely a little bit intimidating to start out, but
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
do what you gotta
What are
do.
you intimidated by?
Just navigating your way around the conversations, like you're calling like CEOs, CISOs, like very
Yeah.
important people, so. You don't want to waste their time or come off, too pitchy as a salesperson, So just finding my way around the phone, navigating those conversations.
It takes time. It takes time. When I first started, I didn't know I'd be cold calling. I had no idea what I'd be doing as a sales
Oh,
development rep
really?
because I never had the information that's now available
Yeah.
to me, you really have no idea. So I show up day one, they hand me a headset and they say, Trent, you're going to be calling these people. I'm like, who are the people? They're like, well, you got to go learn about the buyer personas. I'm like, well, how do I find the buyer personas? They're like, within the ideal customer profiles. I'm like, okay, how do I find those? What do I do? And you start, there's all these modern tools you got to use. So how can you cut through the noise to expedite that journey so you at least know some of these buzzwords so that when they hand you the phone, you're not like me and you sound like a used car salesman. You're nervous. You're calling these people that are twice your age that make 100 times more than you. And you're like, oh my gosh, what do I have to offer them? But you start to realize, you know what? I am worthy. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about, but it just takes some training. Let's rewind now to you knew you wanted to get in tech sales. You maybe didn't have the experience. You heard through different sources like Cyrus, hey, well, there's this thing called course careers. How did you end up deciding to make the investment to say, you know what? I am going to pay money to learn this information when maybe I could just go find it for free, or maybe I could just try and use these different sources. What was that decision to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in my future and take it serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely did my research on the company before deciding to put that money out because, I'm just not going to put my money, into anything. I definitely did my research, watched a lot of the customer testimonials, and, just based off all of that, I was like, I think that this is something that I could really benefit from. And at the same time, it's affordable. Like there's so many boot camps out there that, you have to pay $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 to get the same sort of information that you get, at Course Careers. So just, a combination of doing my own research and, I felt like it was pretty affordable. I was like, I think this is something that I should definitely do as opposed to, there are free research tools out there, but I just preferred something that was more, put together so that I didn't have to dig this way and this way and this way and this way. I just had it all like, at my hand, like at once. So that's pretty much what made me make the choice to, put myself out there and go with it.
How does that feel that you're now one of the student testimonials? You're one of the success stories, and there's going to be someone out there that associates with your story that's sitting there listening in their free time, maybe at night, thinking, man, that could be me too. And hopefully you're giving them the inspiration to do it. So you strike me as a very just self-empowered person. What advice would you maybe give to yourself when you were back in that spot, now that you sort of know what you know? I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty to navigate. So how did you get through it? And then how does that maybe apply to other people as well?
Yeah, some advice I would probably give to myself and others out there is don't overthink it. Don't let, the material overwhelm you. At the end of the day, it is a job that anyone can do.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's a job that anyone can do, and you really just have to put your mind to it and put the work into it. Don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. I know it can seem like a lot, and you want to get everything down to the T, but it's going to come with experience. But at the end of the day, it's a job that anyone can do. Literally, you just have to put in the work. So that's the advice I'll probably give myself.
Well
Or
said,
others
Ken.
out there who are watching.
It sounds like just believing that you're worthy of being able to do it. And that's a common theme I hear in a lot of these student success stories is I just reached a point in my life where I said, enough is enough. I am capable of doing this. And I think it's important for anyone that wants to get in tech sales to ask themselves, can I communicate at a baseline level? Which you and I both can. Okay, check. Am I okay with a little bit of pressure? Because if you don't risk something, you can't reward something. So with sales, of course, you got your quota. You're going to face a little bit of rejection, but you can then start to make a lot more money than other careers because you control your destiny. As you think about that information that you were talking about, how navigating it, learning it can seem overwhelming, you want to really make sure you understand everything. You went into Course Careers really not knowing what tech sales was besides what you had come across online, to your point. How did the information prepare you to land the job?
Yeah, I definitely think it prepared me a lot because I came into it knowing what would be expected of me. Like, for example, when you were saying, oh, you came into it, you didn't even know what a BP was or, ICP. Well, I think coming into it knowing, you don't know everything obviously because you don't have experience, but you know the basis, you know the framework for it, and that definitely helps prepare you for the job itself because there's like so many more things that you're going to learn and be trained in. So it definitely helps to at least have a baseline and something to work off of. When you're coming into these jobs, it definitely, I would definitely recommend, taking the course and just, preparing yourself. You don't want to come into it being unprepared or not knowledgeable. You want to have some sort of thing that you can rely back on. So
as you think about the information preparing you, to your point, you have a distinct advantage over someone who knows what some of these buzzwords mean, who has some understanding of what they would actually be doing. It's a major differentiator in the recruiting process, you as a candidate, because if both people have no experience or the person you're competing against maybe has a degree or has a little bit of experience, if you have that specialized knowledge, to your point, that can be a major separator to not only help you land the job, but also be more successful once you start in the job, because the skill set you use to find the job oftentimes is the skill set you will actually use in the job. So as you think about the information, what was the most useful information or part that you learned? Some folks talk about the group, some folks talk about the books, some folks talked about the information just being structured and all together. What would you say is the most useful part? And then I want to ask you about the part that we can improve upon to make it a better experience for others that have gone through it. But I want to start with the positive.
the positive, yeah, of course. I think for me, I definitely got a lot out of the course. Probably a couple of the most important components. I did enjoy the books. I will say that I did enjoy the books. And just, maybe just having that overall framework of a sales process and what exactly happens in each step of the process. I think that that's super important in these roles because at the end of the day, that's most of the role is going through the sales process and knowing who to prospect, how to prospect, knowing, how to take notes on these prospects so that you can get on these calls and know what you're talking about on these calls. So I think, maybe just the sales cycle, and then the books also. I really like the prospecting book, Fanatical Prospecting. That was a good one. I like that one.
That one gets me fired up. I read that one, Kendra. I'm like, I'm ready to make some calls. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
You got to pull that out before your next calling block, and you'll be ready to absolutely just bust down some doors. So as you think about what we could do better, what was maybe the most challenging part of the course?
I think for me, it was challenging with the groups aspect of it. I know that when I took the course, at least, that there were supposed to be small group meetings, but I never met with my group because it just never happened. I think having that interaction with other people and just sharing your experiences and things of that sort, it was kind of not difficult, but I feel like it could have helped my experience a little bit better. As far as the information itself, I don't really think I struggled with anything in the course, to be honest with you. I think that the information was relayed in a good manner and an understandable manner as well. So I wouldn't say I struggled too much in the course itself.
So it sounds like we could have done a better job fostering collaboration and putting folks in that environment to really communicate and work with one another, opposed to it maybe being a little bit more unstructured and folks having to push it internally. So it seems like it creates a nice circumstance for someone that is a self-starter like you and recognizes, hey, I will get out of this whatever I put into it. And that's what you were able to accomplish because the information provided you what you needed, but it could have been better with other people as well. And I think that's an important call out because if you surround yourself with other people who want a similar goal, everyone's naturally going to raise the tides and it's going to increase the likelihood of success. What I want to end on here is, now that you're in the tech sales career, what are you most looking forward to about that path in your future? Because previously you were probably considering, well, hey, I'm traveling to Africa, I'm doing all these tennis tournaments. injury now isn't necessarily more of recreational enjoyment now opposed to competing professionally. Now you're in this new path. You've committed to it. You're there. What are you most excited about the road ahead?
Honestly, I feel like the opportunities are so endless. I feel like there's so many opportunities to move up in the ladder. And someone like me, I'm extremely ambitious, so I'm always looking to elevate and move to the next level. And the thing I love about tech sales, especially, is there's so much room for growth. There's so many different positions that you can get to within a short period of time, like shorter than probably most other careers, honestly. So I'm definitely looking forward to just the endless opportunities. I'm looking forward to seeing like where I can go with this. Like I feel like the sky is the limit. So I don't have a limit at all. Like I'm trying to get to the top, tippy top.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I love about this career, honestly.
Well, you have me inspired, Kendra. I want to be at the top as well, so I'll see you there on the top floor, whatever that looks like. And I think it's important to talk about success and say, you know what, I do want to go make it. We're going to go do it. And I think the more people we can hear saying that message, it resonates with me. And I'm sure everyone watching this, it resonates with them, because if you get to this point, you clearly are serious about your success and want to improve your future. So Kendra, to everyone out there listening, if they are interested in taking the free introductory course, you can click the first link in the description. You're going to be a success story on the page, so I'm really glad we could do this. And it's hopefully a cool experience for you thinking back, because you watched so many of these, and now you're going to be one of those, and hopefully serve as inspiration to someone else. So thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story, and I'll see you at the top.
Thanks so much, Trent.